How much money were you spending on drugs a month? Do you even know?
No, I'd say about 5 to 10 grand.
It's difficult to fathom the extent of Stacey Dash's struggles, especially when confronted with the startling revelation that she spent a staggering $10,000 a month on drugs. This admission is not just a shocking statistic, but a window into the tumultuous life that the former actress and political commentator has been grappling with for years. Besides, it has also negatively affected her career, which is said to be horribly damaged by her out-of-control behavior. In this video, you will see the real Stacey Dash and her dark secrets that few people know about. Let's start the video. Recently, Stacey Dash has opened up about her deeply painful past, revealing a harrowing history of addiction and domestic abuse. Zhao Tian, Dash shared her story with Dr. Oz, offering a rare and candid glimpse into the struggles that have shaped her life. In her emotional revelation, Dash admitted that at the height of her addiction, she was consuming between 18 and 20 pills a day. The drug in question, hydrocodone, which is commonly marketed under the brand name Vicodin, is a powerful prescription painkiller typically prescribed for patients suffering from moderate to severe pain. Doctors usually recommend taking no more than 2.5 or 5 milligram tablets every 4 to 6 hours. However, Dash's consumption far exceeded these medical guidelines, indicating the severe grip that addiction had on her life. Dash described her pill addiction as her deepest, darkest secret, a burden she carried for years before publicly acknowledging it. She disclosed in a Facebook post that there was a time when her addiction was so intense that she was spending between $5,000 to $10,000 a month on Vicodin alone. This staggering amount underscores the severity of her dependency and the extent to which it controlled her life. Addiction, as many know, is not just a physical dependency. It often comes with a heavy emotional and psychological toll. For Dash, the cost of her addiction was more than financial. She confessed that she lost everything due to her dependence on Vicodin. The phrase "lost everything" is a powerful testament to the destructive nature of addiction, which often ravages not only the addict's health, but also their personal relationships, career, and overall quality of life. Dash's battle with addiction was further complicated by a history of domestic abuse. During her 20s, she was involved in a violent relationship that left her physically and emotionally scarred. In one particularly horrifying incident, Dash revealed that she was beaten so severely by her partner that she was left with a broken arm and was unable to get out of bed for 2 weeks. The trauma of such abuse, compounded by the isolation and fear that often accompany it, likely contributed to her dependency on painkillers as a means of escape. The intersection of addiction and domestic abuse is a particularly devastating one. Both issues are deeply stigmatized, making it difficult for victims to seek help or even acknowledge their struggles. For Dash, her experiences in that abusive relationship likely exacerbated her addiction, creating a vicious cycle of pain, dependency, and further abuse. Despite the immense challenges she has faced, Dash has managed to turn her life around, crediting her strong faith with helping her stay on the straight and narrow. Faith, for many recovering addicts, serves as a vital source of strength and hope, offering a sense of purpose and a path to redemption. However, Dash is candid about the fact that recovery is not a linear journey. She admits that some days are harder than others, a sentiment that will resonate with many who have faced similar struggles. Based on Stacey Dash's situation, many people are questioning her fading career. Will Stacey Dash destroy it herself? The beginning of what many consider the downfall of Dash's career can be traced back to her affiliation with prominent conservative figures like Piers Morgan and Sean Hannity. In 2012, Dash made her first appearance as a political commentator on Piers Morgan Live, a move that marked a significant shift from her Hollywood roots to the polarizing world of political punditry. This initial foray into conservative commentary was followed by a guest appearance on Sean Hannity's show, a platform that further solidified her position within the conservative media landscape. By 2014, Dash had transitioned from occasional guest appearances to a more permanent role as an official contributor on Fox News. This new chapter in her career seemed promising at first, offering her a regular platform to express her views on a variety of social and political issues. However, her time at Fox News would prove to be short-lived, marred by a series of controversial statements that ultimately led to her downfall within the network. One of the most significant turning points in Dash's career came during an episode of Fox News' Outnumbered. During the broadcast, Dash made a particularly inflammatory remark about then-President Barack Obama, stating that he didn't give a sot about terrorism. Although the show's producers managed to bleep out the profanity before it aired, the damage was done. Dash's comments sparked outrage, not only among viewers, but also within the network itself. As a result, Dash was temporarily suspended from her position, a move that signaled the beginning of the end of her time at Fox News. Despite the temporary nature of her suspension, Dash's days at the network were numbered. According to reports from Us Weekly and The Hollywood Reporter, her contract was up for renewal less than a year later, and Fox News opted not to renew it. The decision to part ways with Dash was likely influenced by a series of additional controversies that had further tarnished her reputation. Over the course of her tenure at Fox News, Dash made numerous inflammatory remarks on topics such as transgender rights, immigration, and gun control. She even went so far as to troll the Pulse nightclub tragedy by using it as an opportunity to endorse then-presidential candidate Donald Trump, a move that many found deeply insensitive and offensive. Dash's polarizing comments did not go unnoticed by the public, particularly on social media. Twitter, a platform known for its rapid and often brutal reactions to public figures, was particularly unforgiving. When news broke of Dash's departure from Fox News, the reaction on Twitter was overwhelmingly celebratory. One user quipped, "Dear Karma, good job on Stacey Dash. Do Tomi Lahren next." Sincerely, Twitter, a sentiment that reflected the general consensus on the platform. Dash's firing was seen by many as a form of poetic justice, a consequence of her increasingly controversial and divisive rhetoric. Besides, Stacey Dash found herself at the center of intense controversy following her outspoken political views and public comments that alienated many within her own community. While Dash's 2012 endorsement of Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney raised some eyebrows and garnered a few critical comments on social media, it was her subsequent attacks on institutions like BET, Black History Month, and Jada Pinkett Smith's Oscar boycott that truly ignited a firestorm of backlash, effectively ostracizing her from Hollywood and her former supporters. In 2012, Dash made headlines when she publicly endorsed Mitt Romney, the Republican candidate for president. At the time, her endorsement was met with a mix of reactions, including criticism and accusations of betrayal from those who felt she was aligning herself with a political party often seen as opposed to the interests of the Black community. While the backlash was significant, it paled in comparison to the outrage that would follow in the years to come. As the Washington Post noted, Dash faced racial backlash for her endorsement, but it was nothing compared to the response she would receive after waging war against Black History Month (BET), Black Entertainment Television, and the broader issue of racial representation in Hollywood. The turning point came in 2016 when Dash appeared on Fox and Friends and delivered a controversial rant that would forever change her public image. During the segment, Dash argued that if America wanted to eliminate segregation, it should start by getting rid of institutions like BET, the BET Awards, and the NAACP Image Awards, which she claimed were exclusionary because they primarily honored Black individuals. She extended her argument to include Black History Month, suggesting that its existence perpetuated segregation rather than promoting unity. Dash's comments were met with swift and intense backlash, particularly from within the Black community and her Hollywood peers. Her remarks were seen as an attack on institutions that had been created to celebrate and uplift Black culture, often in response to the exclusion of Black artists and stories from mainstream media. BET, in particular, was founded to provide a platform for Black voices in an industry that had historically marginalized them. The network's awards show was designed to recognize and honor the achievements of Black artists who were often overlooked by other award shows, such as the Grammys and the MTV Video Music Awards. What made Dash's comments even more controversial was the fact that she had previously worked with BET. She had starred in the network's popular series The Game and Single Ladies, both of which were significant parts of her acting career. Bet responded to Dash's remarks with a mix of humor and criticism, publishing a gallery entitled "Every Time Stacey Dash Proved She Was Clueless," a clear reference to her most famous role in the 1995 film Clueless. The gallery served as both a reminder of her earlier success and a pointed critique of her recent behavior. A milestone that marked the tension in Stacey Dash's career was her public fight with Leonardo DiCaprio. We all know that, over the course of his illustrious career, DiCaprio has amassed numerous accolades, including 3 Golden Globes and an Oscar, the latter of which he finally won in 2016 for his role in The Revenant. His acceptance speech that night was as memorable as the award itself, as DiCaprio used the global platform to deliver a powerful message about the urgent threat of climate change, a cause he has long championed. Yet, despite his popularity and the gravity of his message, not everyone was impressed. Among the critics was Stacey Dash, who, true to her reputation for controversy, took it upon herself to mock DiCaprio's concerns and dismiss his environmental advocacy. DiCaprio's win at the 88th Academy Awards was a moment of celebration not just for the actor, but for his countless fans and supporters who had long awaited the day he would finally take home an Oscar. His portrayal of Hugh Glass in The Revenant had been widely praised, and the win felt like a fitting recognition of his years of dedication to his craft. However, instead of simply basking in the glory of his victory, DiCaprio chose to use his acceptance speech to highlight an issue that is close to his heart: the existential threat posed by climate change. In his speech, DiCaprio spoke passionately about the need for immediate action to combat climate change, describing it as the most urgent threat facing our entire species. He called on world leaders to stop procrastinating and take meaningful steps to protect the planet. For many, his words were a powerful reminder of the importance of using one's platform for good, and his speech was lauded as one of the most memorable moments of the night. However, Stacey Dash saw things differently. In an essay posted on her website shortly after the Oscars, the former Clueless star took aim at DiCaprio, ridiculing his concerns about climate change and accusing him of being overly dramatic. Leonardo DiCaprio, "Quit being Chicken Little, the sky is not falling," Dash wrote, invoking the fable of the frightened chicken who mistakenly believes the sky is falling. Dash dismissed DiCaprio's warnings as too much, suggesting that his advocacy was alarmist and not based on reality. Dash's criticism of DiCaprio did not end there. She attempted to disprove his claims about climate change, though her arguments were widely seen as lacking in scientific basis. By positioning herself against one of Hollywood's most beloved figures and the cause he champions, Dash not only alienated herself further from the mainstream, but also drew criticism from those who saw her comments as out of touch with both the scientific consensus and the cultural zeitgeist. DiCaprio's environmental activism extends far beyond his Oscar speech. He has been a vocal advocate for the planet for many years, producing the critically acclaimed climate change documentary Before the Flood and serving on the board of numerous environmental organizations. His foundation, the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation, has donated millions of dollars to support conservation projects around the world. DiCaprio's dedication to environmental causes has earned him respect not only within the entertainment industry, but also among environmentalists and scientists. In contrast, Dash's public stance on environmental issues has been marked by skepticism and denial. In addition to her criticism of DiCaprio, she has also taken aim at former Vice President Al Gore, calling him ridiculous for his work on An Inconvenient Truth, the 2006 documentary that brought the issue of climate change to mainstream attention. Gore's film, which won an Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature, was a landmark moment in the environmental movement, yet Dash dismissed it outright, further cementing her position as a contrarian voice on the issue. During her career, Stacey Dash has made many mistakes, including a decision to link to the scandalous movie Roe v. Wade. From the outset, Roe v. Wade was embroiled in controversy. The film's production was chaotic, to say the least. As the Daily Beast reported, the project was plagued by disorganization, financial troubles, and an inability to secure committed talent. The script, which purportedly presented a heavily biased narrative against abortion, leaked early in the production process and revealed what many critics described as a deeply problematic portrayal of the historical events. The script reportedly contained conspiracy theories and inaccuracies, which only heightened the skepticism surrounding the film. One of the most significant issues that Roe v. Wade faced was its casting. According to The Hollywood Reporter, actors continuously dropped out of the project after reading the script, a clear sign that the content was too controversial or too poorly written for many in the industry to associate themselves with. This exodus of talent created a casting nightmare for the producers, who struggled to find actors willing to participate. This alone was a red flag, indicating that the project was far from the typical Hollywood production and was more of an ideological piece with a narrow target audience. The film also faced significant challenges in securing financing. Critics viewed Roe v. Wade as little more than anti-abortion propaganda, and this perception made it difficult for the producers to attract traditional sources of funding. The financing troubles, coupled with the mass exodus of actors, contributed to the film's chaotic production and raised serious doubts about its eventual success or impact. Despite these challenges, Stacey Dash signed on to play Mildred Jefferson, a key figure in the anti-abortion movement and the founder of the National Right to Life Committee. Jefferson's character was central to the film's narrative, and Dash's involvement signaled her alignment with the film's controversial stance. Joining Dash in the cast were other right-wing figures such as Tomi Lahren and Milo Yiannopoulos, both of whom are known for their polarizing views and provocative rhetoric. Yiannopoulos, in particular, has referred to himself as the world's most fabulous supervillain, a title that reflects his penchant for courting controversy. The inclusion of such figures in the film underscored its niche appeal and the likelihood that it would resonate primarily with a conservative audience rather than with mainstream viewers. The controversy surrounding Roe v. Wade extended to its release strategy. Unlike most films, which aim to premiere at prestigious film festivals to generate buzz and attract critical attention, Roe v. Wade bypassed the traditional festival circuit entirely. Instead, as Page Six reported, the film premiered at a Hyatt Regency Hotel in Orlando, Florida, during the February 2021 Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC. This choice of venue and timing further emphasized the film's ideological bent and its appeal to a specific, politically conservative audience. The decision to premiere at CPAC, rather than a film festival, indicated that the filmmakers were less concerned with critical acclaim and more focused on reaching an audience already aligned with their views. There is a truth that Stacey Dash has cultivated a reputation for being outspoken and unapologetically controversial, often at the expense of her relationships within the entertainment industry. This pattern was particularly evident in 2016, when she not only waged a public battle against BET and Black History Month, but also took aim at one of her peers in a highly inflammatory manner. In the same year, Dash harshly criticized Grey's Anatomy star Jesse Williams, a prominent actor and activist, following his impassioned speech at the BET Awards. This incident underscored Dash's tendency to isolate herself from the broader Hollywood community, choosing instead to criticize those who advocate for social justice, even when it means alienating herself further. The controversy began when Jesse Williams accepted the Humanitarian Award at the 2016 BET Awards. His speech was a powerful call to action against systemic racism and police brutality, urging the audience and viewers to recognize the ongoing struggles faced by Black Americans and to mobilize for change. Williams, who has been an outspoken advocate for human rights and a supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement, used his platform to highlight the disparities in the treatment of Black individuals and to condemn the injustices perpetuated by the system. His speech quickly went viral, resonating with many who felt it captured the urgency of the moment and the need for continued activism. However, rather than expressing solidarity or support, Stacey Dash responded with a scathing critique. In a blog post, Dash accused Williams of being a plantation slave, a term laden with historical weight and implications, especially given the context of his speech. She further accused him of being racist toward white people, arguing that his speech was filled with hate and anger. Dash's comments were seen by many as not only a gross mischaracterization of Williams's message, but also as an inflammatory and divisive attack on a fellow actor who was using his platform to speak out against injustice. Dash's choice of words was particularly striking. By likening Williams to a plantation slave, she invoked a painful chapter in American history, one that is deeply tied to the legacy of slavery and systemic racism. The implication that Williams, a man of mixed race who was addressing issues of racial inequality, was somehow perpetuating a form of slavery within Hollywood was widely criticized as both offensive and baseless. This analogy was seen as an attempt to undermine Williams' message by distorting the context of his speech and casting him in a negative light. Moreover, Dash's criticism of Williams as being racist towards white people was met with skepticism and condemnation. Williams's speech, which focused on the need for racial justice and equality, was framed by Dash as an attack on white Americans, despite the fact that his message was rooted in the lived experiences of Black people and the ongoing fight against systemic oppression. By dismissing his words as mere hate and anger, Dash seemed to ignore the broader context of the speech and the legitimate grievances that Williams was addressing. The fallout from Dash's comments was swift. Many viewed her remarks as yet another example of her willingness to attack her peers rather than stand by them, especially those who are advocating for causes that challenge the status quo. Dash's criticism of Williams only served to further isolate her from the Hollywood community, where many actors, directors, and producers have increasingly embraced social justice causes and used their platforms to advocate for change. Jesse Williams, for his part, did not publicly respond to Dash's comments, likely choosing to focus on his work and activism rather than engage in a public feud. At the time, Williams was a key figure on Grey's Anatomy, a show that had long been praised for its diverse cast and progressive storytelling. Additionally, Williams produced the 2016 documentary Stay Woke, the Black Lives Matter movement, which explored the origins and impact of the Black Lives Matter movement. His commitment to social justice was clear, and his decision to not respond to Dash's critique may have been a reflection of his desire to remain focused on the issues at hand rather than get sidetracked by personal attacks. In an era when Hollywood has been making strides toward greater inclusivity and representation of the LGBTQ+ community, Stacey Dash has chosen a path that places her in stark opposition to these developments. As the entertainment industry works to address its long-standing issues with LGBTQ+ visibility, particularly the underrepresentation of transgender individuals, Dash's comments and actions have not only alienated her from this growing movement, but also reinforced her image as a controversial and divisive figure. Over the past several years, Hollywood has begun to recognize and address its shortcomings in LGBTQ+ representation. According to them, 2019 marked a year of progress, with a record-high number of gay, lesbian, and bisexual characters appearing in television and film. However, this progress was tempered by a notable absence of transgender characters, highlighting that while strides are being made, there is still significant work to be done. Despite these challenges, figures like Hunter Schafer, whose portrayal of Jules in HBO's Euphoria received widespread critical acclaim, and Elliot Page, who made headlines by coming out as transgender and discussing transgender rights on the cover of Time magazine in 2021, have become beacons of progress, helping to pave the way for greater acceptance and representation. As Hollywood moves toward a more inclusive future, Stacey Dash has positioned herself in direct opposition to these efforts. In 2016, she published her memoir, There Goes My Social Life, From Clueless to Conservative, in which she expressed disdain for Caitlyn Jenner's decision to use the women's restroom. Dash's comments on this subject were not only controversial but also deeply hurtful to many in the LGBTQ+ community. During an interview with Entertainment Tonight, discussing her book, Dash made inflammatory remarks, suggesting that transgender people should relieve themselves in the bushes to avoid infringing upon her rights. Her assertion that allowing transgender individuals to use the restroom that aligns with their gender identity would put her child's life at risk was baseless and played into harmful stereotypes that perpetuate fear and misunderstanding about transgender people. Dash's comments reflect a broader disdain for the progress being made in Hollywood regarding LGBTQ+ rights and visibility. She framed her opposition in terms of what she described as tyranny by the minority, arguing that her rights were being infringed upon by the efforts to accommodate transgender individuals. This perspective not only ignores the struggles and discrimination faced by transgender people, but also suggests a lack of empathy and understanding of the challenges they encounter on a daily basis. Furthermore, Dash's remarks are emblematic of her broader rejection of what she perceives as Hollywood's liberal agenda. This so-called agenda, which she has frequently criticized, is responsible for the very industry that gave her a platform and cast her in the roles that brought her fame. Yet, rather than embracing the evolution of Hollywood toward greater inclusivity, Dash has chosen to distance herself from these developments, aligning herself with a more conservative viewpoint that runs counter to the direction in which the industry is moving. In 2020, Stacey Dash's life took a tumultuous turn as she navigated through a difficult divorce that was marred by disturbing allegations and negative publicity. The actress, best known for her role in Clueless and later for her controversial political commentary, found herself in the headlines for reasons far removed from her career. Her fourth marriage, to attorney Jeffrey Marty, unraveled in a public and chaotic manner, revealing a personal life fraught with turmoil and strained by both financial and emotional challenges. The first signs of trouble in Dash's marriage emerged in September 2019, when a disturbing 911 call was made from her Florida home. During the call, Dash could be heard alleging that her husband, Jeffrey Marty, had put her into a chokehold. This alarming claim was captured on audio, which was later obtained by TMZ. Despite the seriousness of the allegations, Dash's manager refuted the chokehold claim, suggesting that the situation might have been misinterpreted. Nevertheless, the incident led to Dash's arrest for alleged domestic battery, as police observed scratch marks on Marty that seemed to support his version of events. The arrest was a significant and public humiliation for Dash, further complicating her already challenging personal life. According to NBC News, the charges against her were eventually dropped, but the damage to her reputation was already done. The incident painted a picture of a troubled marriage, one in which both parties appeared to be struggling with significant issues. Despite the charges being dismissed, the couple's relationship was clearly on shaky ground, and it seemed that their marriage was unlikely to recover from the fallout. For a brief period, it appeared that Dash and Marty were attempting to salvage their marriage, but the attempt was short-lived. By June 2020, less than a year after the arrest, Dash filed for divorce, marking the official end of her fourth marriage. The timing of the filing was telling. Dash listed the day after her arrest as the official date of their separation, indicating that the incident had been a turning point in their relationship. The divorce filing brought to light not only the personal struggles Dash was facing, but also the financial difficulties that had become a reality for the once prominent actress. At the time of the divorce, Dash claimed that she was making just $2,500 a month, a significant decline from the earnings she had once enjoyed during the peak of her acting career. This financial strain only added to the pressure of her personal life, as she found herself in a precarious position, both professionally and personally. The actress, who had once been a fixture in Hollywood, was now facing the harsh reality of diminished career opportunities and a crumbling personal life. The divorce proceedings took an unusual turn when Jeffrey Marty sought to have the marriage annulled. In a bizarre twist, Marty claimed that he had been essentially hypnotized into marrying Dash. According to TMZ, Marty alleged that Dash's pastor had suddenly and unexpectedly proclaimed that it was God's will for him to marry her, using what he described as hypnotic prayer techniques that impaired his ability to fully consent to the marriage. These claims, while unusual, were reportedly an attempt by Marty to expedite the divorce process or potentially avoid paying spousal support. Dash did not oppose the idea of an annulment, though her attorney dismissed the claims of hypnotism as outlandish. The notion that Marty had been hypnotized into marriage was seen by many as a far-fetched excuse, reflecting the increasingly strange and contentious nature of their relationship. The annulment claims added yet another layer of complexity to an already convoluted situation, further highlighting the extent of the dysfunction that had characterized their brief marriage. We found that since Stacey Dash's foray into political commentary with Fox News, her career trajectory has been marked by a series of high-profile controversies that have significantly impacted her standing within Hollywood. Once a prominent actress known for her role in Clueless, Dash's outspoken political views and alignment with conservative media figures have resulted in a considerable amount of negative publicity and a strained relationship with her former liberal peers in the entertainment industry. Dash's transformation from actress to political pundit began with her appearance on Piers Morgan Live in 2012, which set the stage for her eventual role as a Fox News contributor. Over the years, her political commentary, particularly her support for then-President Donald Trump and her criticisms of liberal ideologies, garnered both attention and backlash. This outspoken nature not only brought her a new level of visibility, but also created a rift between her and the Hollywood community that had once embraced her. As she became increasingly associated with controversial conservative viewpoints, Dash found herself marginalized by an industry that was moving in a more progressive direction. By 2018, during her brief and unsuccessful congressional run, Dash candidly expressed her frustration with the impact her political stance had on her career. In an interview with The Guardian, she claimed that her political beliefs had led to a dearth of acting opportunities, stating, "You're tolerated only if you fit their liberal profile. I've been blacklisted. I don't even get to auditions." This admission highlighted the extent to which Dash felt her alignment with conservative politics had alienated her from Hollywood's mainstream, contributing to a significant decline in her career prospects. Despite the challenges she faced, it appears that Dash has been striving for redemption and a possible reintegration into Hollywood. The turning point in her journey came in early 2021, following the violent Capitol riots on January 6th. The attack on the U.S. Capitol seemed to catalyze a shift in Dash's perspective, leading her to reevaluate her political affiliations and public persona. In a notable departure from her previous support for Trump, Dash publicly renounced her endorsement of the former president and expressed regret for her past actions. In an interview with the Daily Mail, Dash reflected on her previous behavior and the impact it had on her life and career. She acknowledged that her tenure as a vocal conservative commentator had been marked by anger and divisiveness, traits she now recognized as detrimental. "I've lived my life being angry, which is what I was on Fox News. I was the angry, conservative black woman. And at that time in my life it was who I was," Dash confessed. She went on to admit that this anger was unsustainable and could ultimately destroy a person. This self-awareness and apology were seen as significant steps towards mending her public image and seeking a more positive path forward. Dash's apology extended beyond mere regret. She also addressed the issue of judgment. "I don't want to be judged, so how dare I judge anyone else? So if anyone has ever felt that way about me, like I've judged, that I apologize for because that's not who I am," she stated. This statement was indicative of her attempt to make amends and shift away from the combative stance she had previously adopted. By expressing her desire to move past her past behavior, Dash signaled her intention to pursue a more conciliatory and less polarizing approach in the future. As of mid-2021, Dash's efforts to rehabilitate her career appeared to be gaining some traction. She had a handful of projects lined up, signaling a potential comeback. The prospect of returning to Hollywood was not without its challenges, but the renewed focus on her career suggested that there was a glimmer of hope for her future in the industry. Whether or not Dash could successfully navigate the complexities of her past controversies and reestablish herself in Hollywood remained to be seen. However, her willingness to apologize and make amends indicated a sincere effort to rebuild her career and reputation. What do you think about Stacey Dash's career resilience and the dark corners of her relationships and life? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.